Following the start of the latest Palestine-Israel escalation, global fears of a wider Middle East conflict have been raised. Amid the crisis, we have prepared a ranking of the Middle East's top 5 military forces and analyzed where each power stands in relation to the ongoing conflict. 5. Saudi Arabia. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia ranks 5th in the global firepowers ranking of the top 5 military powers in the Middle East and 22nd overall. With a military budget of a whopping $69.1 billion in 2023, country has consistently ranked among the top 10 countries in the world in terms of biggest military budgets. The Saudi armed forces have 257,000 active duty personnel. The kingdom relies on the United States for an overwhelming majority, nearly 80%, of its military equipment, with France and Spain making up much of the rest. This equipment includes things like Abrams tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles, Apache attack helicopters, Patriot missile systems, and other advanced U.S. systems. The regional giant, at least in terms of its military budget, which easily outpaces any other rival, Saudi Arabia's global firepower, GFP, score of 0.4302 puts it in 5th place overall in the region. The huge amount of money being spent by Riyadh each year means the country has the best equipped armed forces in the region with the exception of Israel. Its involvement in the Yemen civil war over the past 3 years has given its forces valuable frontline experience, but its failure to defeat its Houthi opponents there has also raised questions about how effective a fighting force the Saudi military really is. 4. Egypt. Egypt, the country directly next door to the crisis unfolding in Gaza, is also considered to have one of the most powerful militaries in the Middle East, ranking 14th among 145 countries reviewed in the Global Firepower Index's 2023 report. The armed forces have 438,500 active duty personnel and 479,000 reservists to call on in a crisis. Egypt hasn't fought a major war on its soil since the Yom Kippur War of October 1973. Egyptian forces joined the US-led coalition in Iraq during the 1991 Gulf War, and have taken part in the US-led War on Terror, including jihadist insurgencies in the Sinai Peninsula. The military took part in the ouster of President Mohamed Morsi in 2013, followed by a crackdown on the Muslim Brotherhood. Egyptian forces have also joined in the Saudi-led operation in Yemen, which began in 2015. Egypt has a military budget of $4.6 billion in 2022, and relies on foreign partners for most of its military equipment, importing some $48.1 billion from the U.S. between 1948 and 2017 alone, with Russia another major source of arms imports. With a former general now in charge of the country, Abdel el-Sisi, it is unsurprising that Egypt's army is in a powerful position in the domestic political arena. The defense forces are currently in the midst of an equipment recapitalization program, with new fighter aircraft, attack helicopters and surface-to-air missiles all being bought in. However, the country has struggled to deal with the challenge posed by insurgent, terrorist groups in the northern Sinai Peninsula for the past few years. With a GFP score of 0.2676, Egypt is seen as having the second strongest armed forces in the region and the 10th strongest in the world overall, ahead of the likes of Italy and Pakistan. 3. Iran. Iran is another major Middle Eastern military powerhouse. Iran's military forces are made up of approximately 610,000 active duty personnel plus 350,000 reserve and trained personnel that can be mobilized when needed, bringing the country's military manpower to about 960,000 total personnel. The country had a military budget equivalent to about $6.8 billion in 2022. Does Iran have nuclear weapon yet? IAEA reports suggest that Iran does not yet have a viable nuclear weapon design or a suitable explosive detonation system. Tehran may also need additional experience in producing uranium metal. Weapons-grade HEU metal for use in a nuclear weapon is first cast and machined into suitable components for a nuclear core. It said that as of October 2023, Iran had more than 4,000 tanks and more than 1,000 rocket launcher systems. Iran's missile arsenal is the largest and most diverse in the Middle East. In 2022, U.S. Central Command's General Kenneth McKenzie stated that Iran possesses over 3,000 ballistic missiles. This does not include the country's burgeoning land attack cruise missile force. Despite economic challenges like those sanctions, Iran has earmarked a fifth of its annual budget to defense in 2023. Overall global firepower gave the country a power index score of 0.2712. 2. Turkey. Global Firepower said Turkey is undoubtedly a rising military power, relying ever more on local industry to satisfy equally local defense requirements on land, on sea, and in the air. It ranked the country in the top 10 in areas including aircraft fleet strength, transport fleet strength, and helicopter strength. Turkey has the second largest standing force in NATO after the United States. There are 800,000 personnel, including 379,000 reserves. It said that Turkey had 1,065 military aircraft as of April 2023, giving it a power index score of 0.2016. Turkey is one of 5 NATO member countries that host U.S. nuclear weapons as part of the alliance's nuclear sharing deal. The country has chosen a difficult balancing act since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, by providing Ukraine with combat drones and keeping close ties with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Number 1. Israel. The prosperity of Israel's advanced economy allows the country to have a sophisticated welfare state, a powerful modern military said to possess a nuclear weapons capability with a full nuclear triad, modern infrastructure rivaling many Western countries, and a high-technology sector competitively on par with Silicon. Israel's active personnel 169,500. Reserve personnel 465,000. Expenditures budget $24.3 billion US dollars, 2021. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, have been considered among the top 5 most powerful military powers in the Middle East since the country's inception in 1948. Since that time, Israel has fought over a dozen major wars. Israel is widely believed to possess nuclear weapons. Estimates of Israel's stockpile range between 80 and 400 nuclear warheads, and the country is believed to possess the ability to deliver them in several methods, including by aircraft, as submarine-launched cruise missiles, and via the Jericho series of intermediate to intercontinental range ballistic missiles that make this country to the most powerful armed force in the Middle East.